No
Ladies and
worries.
gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Creative Caffeine podcast.
What's up, guys? You are listening to the Creative Caffeine podcast. My name's Connor.
My name's Ben.
And in this podcast, if you're looking to live that creative life, this is the podcast for you. We're going to be talking all things video
Photo.
and content creation, the good, the bad.
And the ugly.
So sit back, grab your snacks, grab your drinks, and enjoy.
Happy days. We've had some technical difficulties. I think this is like the second time we've tried to record this. I mean, we love Riverside. It's better than Zoom. But how are you doing, man?
Today, is it?
It's never happened, no.
Yeah, no, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. It feels like I'm staging this convo. But on the podcast today, we've got a Brit living in Canada. I mean, it's absolute gold. Wouldn't you just want to live in Canada?
Oh,
just everywhere seems to look incredible. Like,
I mean, yeah, I'm like hopefully going next year, and yeah, I'm buzzing. So
I've been once, and it was before I started shooting like properly. I went to Whistler, but we've got Chris Brockhurst on the podcast. How are you doing, man?
I am doing very well, guys. How are you?
We're not too bad, man. We're not too bad. We've got all our technical
relieved.
difficulties out of the way, which is good. But
We're here.
We're good, man. We're here.
We're here, yeah.
We like to start off the show by asking our guests the same question, and that is, would you rather have a battery that never dies or an SD card that never fills up?
Definitely an SD card that never fills up. 100%. No question.
We don't get many people that say that, do we?
no, I think we've had one maybe.
Was it Tim?
Yeah, Tim. I think.
Yeah, we had a music video guy specializing in like sort of rock music videos and stuff, and I think he's been the only person that said SD card.
Yeah.
What's their reasoning then?
Because he runs like V-mount batteries and stuff, and plugs everything else in externally, which is nice. I mean, I've got the webcam we're using an A7 IV, and you can power that through USB-C, which is so nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say yeah. Whereas for me, shooting weddings, it's like there's a lot of little bits that I'm like, do I change the battery now or do I wait it out? And then I could just do with having an everlasting battery through the whole wedding.
Yeah.
And just
I've been in that situation before, like literally as the bride's about to walk down the aisle and the battery's flashing. And I'm like,
God.
what do we do? What do we do? So it's, it's never a situation you want to be in, but I feel like it happens once and then you just plan everything else out in the future so it never happens again.
Yeah, I always carry like 3 on me now. Just
that is pure anxiety moment of when like your battery goes to that red flashing point right towards like the halfway point of a video, and you know the time length of that video is going to be. It's pure anxiety inducing.
Yeah,
It is. Very much so.
So Chris, for those who don't know you, can you tell us a bit about your background, how you got into photography and videography, and the camera review tutorial YouTube space? Because it's a big group of people now.
It is. And I feel like they're all in Toronto as well, like right in Canada here.
They really
does feel that way.
Yeah. I actually started the same way a lot of other people did, making skateboarding videos when I was probably like 13 or 14. Remember literally walking into Dixon's, it was called at the time. I think it's like the Curry's equivalent now, if you still have Curry's there.
I remember
seeing a digital camera on the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, Dixon's. I'm showing my age there. And I remember seeing that video camera that I wanted to buy and just be able to make skateboard films with it. So that's how I started getting into photo and video, and it all kind of progressed from there. I ended up going to university for it in England. Dropped out like most other people do in this field as well. Got bored of it and the direction they were pushing it, and moved to Canada. And when I moved to Canada, the very first job that I had in Canada, because none of my qualifications in Canada from England meant anything. No experience, they don't care. My very first job was in, not easily. Very first job was in like the equivalent of like PC World, I guess. And it was in the cameras department. And I got a nice big fat discount on a Canon 60D after I'd been there a while, and just jump started my interest back into photo and video. I made a bunch of family home films, just going on trips, that kind of thing. And then YouTube started happening and growing and getting bigger, and I started watching Casey like everyone else did, and loved the whole vlog side of things. The GOAT, yeah. And from there, I just started watching people in the camera space. I was using my camera, learning how to use it, that kind of thing. And it's like, well, if they're doing it, I can do this too. So I just started making videos and didn't really think anything would ever turn into it from making those. And here we are. This is what I do for a living now.
Nearly at 100,000 subscribers as well, which is like
Really, yeah.
epic.
It is.
Like-
I honestly, and I know everyone always says this, I honestly never thought that I would be able to do this for a living and see that number just keep going up the way it does. So I am very thankful to be here and very happy to be here as well.
That's great to hear, man. That's great to hear. It's nice, like, when you've been working towards something for so long and then it ends up being full-time, because I'm full-time in photography and video, but I still kind of think of it as a hobby, not really as a job, just because I enjoy it so much. And it's such a nice feeling, isn't it?
Same. It's like that whole thing that people say where it's, oh, if you find a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. It's like, it's technically true to a degree, but yeah, it's a hobby that developed into a job. Yeah. So it's really good. You both guys work full time doing this?
No, I work minimal part-time hours. I'm like, stupidly took a finance out on a car. So until I can guarantee, because obviously with weddings and stuff, I don't get very many returning customers. So
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So basically, until I can, I'll get some people under a retainer and then I'll be able to, but I literally just work like really short hours, like 3 hours in the evening, just at a gym, just part-time really. And then have the whole day basically to film and edit and do whatever. So
that's the way to do it, right?
Towards it. Yeah.
Keep busy doing something you want to do.
Up in it.
Yeah, no, exactly. And then we'll get there in the end.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, you'll do it. What's your goal of like being able to? When would you like to be full time?
So music videos is like my main.
Yeah,
that's like what I enjoy making mainly, just because I find them a bit more creative. But after COVID, I very much got like sucked into weddings. Just because it's kind of where
there's a rush of weddings.
There's so much demand that I was just like, I'm gonna just get in there and make the most of it. And now I'm still there. So yeah, I think once we get for a little bit, I'm gonna try and move back over to music videos eventually as well. But
nice.
I know I do enjoy doing like corporate stuff as well, like here and there. It's stressful, but it's really good. Just involves a lot of traveling to London, which is always fun.
Always fun with tube strikes these days.
Yeah. Whereabouts are you guys located?
So we're in Hertfordshire, aren't we?
Yeah, just north of London.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Whereabouts did you live when you were here in England?
Farnborough. You know where the airport is?
Oh, that's South London.
South,
southwestish.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, traveling into London's, it used to be fun, but now it's just stressful. Like
I drive the majority of the time now, just because.
Yeah, driving is so much better, especially when you got like a car full of camera gear and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say, I feel like the UK is slowly falling apart right now.
Yeah, I could see the move to Canada was appealing. What sort of spurred that?
My missus. So my girlfriend at the time, now wife, and she was she traveled with one of her friends who was dating one of my best friends at the time, and they subsequently broke up, and she ended up staying in England and came to a point where her visa was basically done. She was going home, so it was like, right, what are we doing? We breaking up, or are you coming back to Canada? So I came back to Canada, and I've been here since 2010 now. So what's that, 13 years? Yeah.
Wow. And how like, are you enjoying living? I mean, obviously enjoying living in Canada, but is it?
No, I hate it. I hate it. I'm moving back tomorrow.
Coming back to England. Is it nice living there? Is it good?
It is. I love it. I wouldn't. I miss England I always tell people I miss England for two things: the people and the culture. So, like my friends, my family, everyone's there, and then the cultural aspects of it, like being able to go to the pub, like that kind of thing, because you don't have that same thing here. That's what I miss. But yeah, it's very different. Canada is. There's so much opportunity for people here to do things, and it's just a beautiful country. And I'd say the biggest thing I like about here is the definition of season. So like when it's winter, you know it's winter. When it's summer, it's hot. When it's spring, it looks like spring. And I never really found you had that much in England, so
Yeah.
it's really nice
Yeah.
to have that here. Yeah,
I mean, we've had like really half-hearted snow the past few days. That's
Yeah.
just
I saw. Yeah,
sleet. It's grim.
yeah.
It's funny because
Yeah.
like I was doing a shoot the other day, just like a photo session, and they had the radio on in the background, and it was like BBC Radio 1, and they were saying, "Oh, please stay inside if you can because there's a snow warning." I looked out the window and it wasn't settling, but
Yeah.
that's what they consider winter here in England, a little bit of
Yeah.
snow. Whereas in Canada,
Yeah.
if you get like 5 feet of snow, that's just what they call Tuesday.
Yeah,
Whereas we
yeah,
recently went to Iceland, didn't we? And we had like an actual winter like feeling, and it was like, oh, this is
This is what it
what it
should
really
be.
feels like. Yeah.
yeah,
But-
yeah. I mean, it sounds better than it is, practically speaking. Like, to give you an example, we had a huge dump the other day. It took me 2 hours to clear my driveway to be able to leave
Wow.
the house. So like that, it doesn't happen often, but that happens during a winter season at least 2 or 3 times. But yeah, it can get frustrating for sure when you need to be somewhere at a certain time when you're trying to get the kids out the door by 8 o'clock and you don't leave till
Yeah.
10. But in general, like I quite enjoy the snow. Like I still don't. Like, everyone here, they grew up with snow, right? So like when it snows in England, I remember being younger and be like, right, we're going to build a snowman. We're going to build an igloo.
Yeah.
And no one here wants to do that. So it's just me out there with the kids doing that, right? So it's,
They're just
I
sick
like
of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
So let's talk cameras. What are you shooting on at the moment?
So right now, like this view you're seeing right here, that's a FX3 with a 50mm f1.2. I just sold my A7S3 and picked up an A7R5. Just I needed something that was more like hybrid-y. Was going to
Yeah.
get the A7 IV, but I needed an uncropped 60 frames, so we went with the A7R5. And then the FX6 as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've got the A7. I've got a couple of A7 IVs, and
Uh-huh.
they're absolute powerhouses. Like the
Oh.
fact that they don't overheat, the no record
Yeah.
limit, the 4K 60 crop. It can be a bit of a downside, but I'm trying to use it to my advantage. So if I need like a little bit more reach, and I don't want to
There
get
you go.
in the way, don't want to be too intrusive, I'll play it to my advantage. But I know you shoot a lot of real estate stuff, and that crop, I guess, can be a bit of an issue, right?
Yeah, it can. I mean, depending on the style that you're going for. If you're looking for something that's wider and you're using a 16, obviously with the crop, it's not going to be a 16, so you have to counter that. A lot of the times, the 16 isn't because I want to use a 16, it's just you really need to if you're in a small room or a tiny little bathroom. Typically, are the ones you need the big wide lenses for, so you can see in the room. So it's more of a practical thing than a personal choice, but there's ways to get around it. You can get like the 10 to 18, put that on there. It's an APS-C lens. It works the equivalent of a 16. So there's always ways around it.
That's what you've got, haven't you? Is it the 10 to 18?
Yeah, when I used to shoot on APS-C, I've got so many APS-C lenses, but like they still work really well because it's obviously still so wide. Even if I put like the A7 III into the crop mode, it's still like it still works wonders. So yeah, no, I find it really handy. Although it's a little
And they're cheap. The
distorts a bit.
APS-C lenses are cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're really cheap. I think even the 50mm was like something stupidly cheap.
They're really cheap. And the thing as well, like talking cheap lenses, I don't have any G Master lenses. I've got this right now. It's a Sigma 24-70. But one of my favorite lenses is the Sony, the Zeiss 16-35, the f4 one.
Yep.
Like
Still,
the f4
still have
lenses
that.
are so underrated. I love
yeah.
that lens so much.
That lens went down in
Such
price
a good
hugely
lens.
when Sony brought out the other one, last year? You can get that lens for so
Yeah.
cheap now. No one wants it, but it's still so good.
Like here in the UK, I see loads of the Sony Zeiss f4 lenses, like the 24-70, the 16-35. There's loads of them on like Facebook Marketplace, like secondhand, and that's what I did with that one because they're just going so cheap now, which is
Well,
great.
yeah, because I was thinking, I was like, do I buy like a full frame 50mm? But then I was like, I've got a cropped 35mm lens, so it's
Same thing.
practically
you
it's near enough there. Yeah, but yeah, no, I still use them. So
So let me ask you guys then,
So
what's
what are you
your
editing?
favorite
fire away.
lens? What's your favorite lens? You get one lens to use forever. What is it?
Favorite lens? That's a very
Yeah.
good question. We were going to ask you that, but I like it. We like it. I would say,
I think not gonna like the 24 to 70. I just because a lot of the time when I use that, it's barely comes off my camera because
Right.
it's like you can go 2.8 throughout the whole focal length. It's literally like so nice because especially at weddings when obviously I can just dump my camera bag somewhere and I can just roam around and I don't have to be changing lenses all the time. It's so nice just to be able to have everything you kind of need in one lens.
hoover up that footage.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Hoover up that footage. I love that. I've never heard that before.
It's the phrase we have on
Yeah.
the podcast so much. Like when it
I'm
comes to
using
wedding
that.
talk, it's literally just like hoovering up footage.
near enough.
For me, I mean, I'm a sucker for a 50 mil. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you want some like creamy B-roll or like just for like a portrait session, the
Nifty
50 mil
50.
is nifty. There is a reason it's called nifty 50. It's just so handy.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about
Agreed.
yourself, Chris?
24 f1.4. That's same response I've had since I first got asked that question, and it's just I just like the 24 look. I feel like I can shoot in the style that I like. I can shoot most things at 24 mil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're at right now. We did a pod the other day, the same sort of setup, but we had the 16 to 35 on, mainly just to fit us in. But we liked that 24 f2.8. We get a little bit more depth of field with it, and it's just a really nice focal length. I record a lot of Instagram reels at that focal length, and it just works. It's just a nice focal length, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like just past the point at which it starts to look normal, I'd say.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's and obviously you don't get that distortion. You get
True, yeah. Doesn't look too compressed. So what are you editing on at the moment? I know a lot of people are switching to various different editing platforms. What is your weapon of choice?
My weapon right now is you want a software or computer or both?
Yeah, let's go both.
both.
Let's go both.
All right. So software is Final Cut right now.
My man.
Right now. Right now. I'm going through a very painful edit right now, and it's making me want to switch. And then I'm using a Mac Studio for
Nice.
the stuff at the studio. And then I just picked up a refurbished 16-inch MacBook Pro M1 Max for traveling, for taking home, and because I just got a studio space last year, so I need something I can travel about with, and then have a desktop as well. So running everything off both of those, little portable hard drive, Final Cut Pro for the editing of video, Lightroom for editing of photos. But I am this close to loading DaVinci. It's downloaded. This close to loading it, and
I have both.
give it a go. Yeah.
You've been trying DaVinci, haven't
Yeah.
you?
I mean, I was kind of interested in not moving to Blackmagic, but I wanted, I just loved the picture from him. So I was like, I might try and learn a bit of DaVinci, but I'm Premiere as well. So I was trying to learn a bit of DaVinci as well. But it would be nice.
How is Premiere these days, honestly?
It's
Be
improved.
real with us.
When have you, did you used to use it? Have you?
Yeah.
How long
I
has
did.
it been?
3 years.
Okay, yeah, no, I'd say it's improved considerably in terms of the crashing and stuff. Because I studied for 2 years at uni, just did foundation, and then throughout that was kind of horrible because it was so bad at because I was on Mac and then at uni we had PCs and it was just rubbish at going between the two. But obviously now I feel like they fixed it a lot, so they've definitely, I think they've come a long way from what they used to be.
It's
good to
definitely
know.
not as dialed in on the Apple systems as Final Cut, obviously, because
no,
Final Cut is an
absolutely
Apple of software. But yeah, I'm hearing less people saying that it's crashing now these days, which is nice. But I'm always going to be Final Cut for those quick turnarounds and just that ease of workflow. It's just top tier.
I think it's just because I've always used Premiere and After Effects just gels so nicely with it, and that's one of the things that actually does work about it. The dynamic link between After Effects is just so just works perfect. So I mean, I'd miss that I think if I moved, but
Yeah.
got to find something.
Well, I hear a lot of people say that DaVinci has essentially its own form of After Effects, right? And it's like After Effects, but just works better, I guess, because it's all in one piece of software. Because DaVinci's all different tabs, right? If you get the Pro version or whatever it's called. So I've seen some of the things that people do with it. I've seen people use it in real time, and it just looks like it You remember when like the first time you looked at Final Cut and you're like, oh, it really works quite well. That's kind of how I feel now.
Yeah.
That's what DaVinci looks like.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
we'll see.
I've been, instead of actually cutting on DaVinci, I was more learning to grade on there just because
right.
it's quite good as well for exporting a project out of Premiere to put into DaVinci. It works quite well, and then grade it in that, put it back into Premiere to kind of export it out again. But yeah, it's just like the color. I don't know what it is about it, but like the coloring is so much nicer in DaVinci.
Yeah.
when you
With the
kind of get
nodes,
over-
right?
Yeah,
The
like the
nodes look
terminology
really
is a little
confusing.
bit to get over, but there's quite a good YouTube tutorials for them. So yeah, thankfully.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for the day that there'll be. I mean, I'm praying. I really hope that this happens, but a Final Cut version on like iPad or mobile. But since DaVinci Resolve have now got their iPad and iPhone app, I
Yeah.
don't know if it's on iPhone, but it's definitely on iPad. It seems that that's going to be a little bit further away. What do you think?
You know what? I used to think it would happen, and I mean, I saw someone tweet the other day something that was so true. It's Apple doesn't even promote Final Cut anymore when they're talking about video editing. They literally talk about DaVinci, which isn't even their software, which makes... So to me, it doesn't really seem like there is going to be that kind of thing happening. Just my opinion. I would love to see it happen because I would use it all the time on like an iPad with a little magic keyboard thing, like to carry about. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Quick edits at home or wherever you are, like in the car, but I don't think it will happen anymore.
I think it will come to iPad when they release an iPad calculator. I think that's
So never.
Never. Yeah, never.
Yeah. So never. Yeah.
Never. So you post very regularly on YouTube. What's like your favorite type of content to make? Is it like the sort of gear reviews? I mean, or like the tutorials, or like the vlog style stuff? What's been your favorite to make over the last few years?
Depends on the week. I am very sporadic in terms of like, I don't have a lot of consistency with the style that I post, which isn't a good thing, to be honest with you. But I stay true to making things that I enjoy making. And I think anyone that does YouTube should do the same thing. Like, just make videos you want to make, opposed to just falling into the trap of making videos that is going to please the algorithm. Yeah, it is. Otherwise, you'll burn out. I don't mind the gear reviews. I do enjoy them. I just try and put my own spin on them in some way. I've done a bunch of gear reviews recently, and now I'm starting to feel like I want to start doing something else for a little bit, so we'll see. But I've got a couple of little different videos coming up soon I'm working on, from travel trips, that kind of thing. But I think that the long-term goal will be to do like the vloggy lifestyle stuff, incorporating the gear reviews into that. I think that's the dream for a lot of people, because it just allows you to just live your life, live about your day while talking about, I don't know, the mini tripod or whatever.
A bit like Peter McKinnon does in a way.
Peter
Yeah,
McKinnon
exactly.
and Matty
He nailed
Hapoya,
that.
they found like Matty Hapoya, I think, has found a really good way. I know he did like a daily vlog
Integrates
for a
it.
month. Yeah, he
Yeah.
integrates it well. Like he'll zoom around on a boosted board, stop and talk about this kind of lens, carry on with his day, show his life, show his kid. But still, the core message of that vlog is the piece of gear, the piece of tech, or whatever it's talking about, which is good.
Yeah, I think it is good. And there's definitely, like, that really does work well for them. I still haven't figured out a way to make that a little bit different, because you got to stand out, right? Like, you can't just rinse and repeat the same content everyone else is doing. It's just, I'm not nearly as interested in it either of those guys are. So it's like, I can't do that because no one's going to care. So until I figure out what it is that I'm actually going to do, then I'll stick with what I'm doing right now. But I think long-term lifestyle vloggy stuff with the gear is the dream for a lot of people.
Awesome.
That's a really nice like long form strategy. When it comes to short form, how are you feeling about like short form content, like reels?
I love
Because I love it too. I got a bit of, not a bit of hate, but someone was like, what are you talking about? And I said, I actually prefer making short form content than when it comes to like long form. I haven't made a long form video for my YouTube channel for a while, but short form has been nice and easy.
Yep. Agreed. I think the appeal for me of short form is it's so quick, it's so easy. I do a lot of them on my phone, and I mean, realistically, if you post it and it doesn't do well, oh well, you post another one an hour later, right? Or like some days I'll post like 3 or 4 different reels. You don't need to overthink it. You just kind of have fun with it. And I think when you have more fun with it and you enjoy doing it more, that shows. And that is generally when you start to make better content that performs better, in my experience. When you overthink it and you over edit it, you put the amount of time into it and it just doesn't do well. You don't want to do it again, right? So if you treat it as disposable, I really think short form content is a lot of fun.
I feel like if you spend too much time on a short form video and really worry about how well it's going to perform, how much your retention rate is, how much people like it, then you might as well make a long form video.
Exactly.
Because that's what it feels like. Because when I used to make like longer form videos and, like a 8 or 10 minute long YouTube video and it did well, I'd be like absolutely over the moon. But then if it tanked, then I'm like, that's like 5 hours of editing wasted. But then when it comes to short form, just because when you post it and it goes, oh, that's done well, sweet, on to the next one. Yeah. But then if it does bad, it's like, okay, cool, on to the next one.
On to the next one, exactly. It's not like it took you a huge amount of time, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's, I don't know, short form, there's a lot of people that put a lot of hate on it, but the numbers speak for themselves. More people are consuming short form content than they are consuming long form content. Everyone is watching video this way now, so it's like, why not embrace it? Like, yeah,
exactly. And with YouTube announcing shorts monetization as well, which has been interesting to see how that's played out.
Yeah, I've made like $6 so far. I'm rich.
Yeah, I've made £4 from like 120,000 views, and I'm like, we're moving house, babe. We're getting that car.
Yep.
It's so weird to see.
Yep.
Like one thing I love paying attention to is, well, I probably shouldn't pay attention to it, but I like to see how the same video will perform on each of the 3 different platforms. So I'll post one on Instagram, the same video on TikTok, and then the same video on YouTube Shorts. And it's interesting to see what does well on each one. It's really weird to see, like say on TikTok, that same video will get, say, 100,000 views, but on Instagram, it'll be like, meh.
Yeah. Yep. I am in the same boat. I still don't understand it, and I've tried. YouTube Shorts is the one I can't crack. I can get things to do really, really well on Instagram Reels. Not quite as well, but doing better on TikTok. And then YouTube Shorts is like, nope. Sorry. Next.
See, it's Instagram that I can't seem to get the reach on. YouTube Shorts have been okay. I posted a short the other day. It was literally like a 5-second sort of little lip syncy thing. And it's now annoyingly, like, it's great, but annoyingly, it's my now most viewed video on my channel. And I'm like, really? Like, really? But it does that. Have you posted shorts yet?
No, I've done a few as unlisted.
Yeah.
Literally, only as unlisted, just basically for clients to review.
They seem to do like it flat, and then they spike, and then plateau again.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird to see where they drop off. It's particularly in like real time. How have you found that?
Yeah, exactly the same scenario. I find they have a little spike at the beginning, and they either, like, I've come to the conclusion that all these short form platforms are all about levels of reach. So if you hit like 10,000 views, they'll push you to the next level, and you might get like 100,000 views within a couple of days. And if you get 100,000 views, then you're going to get into the millions. But if you don't even hit like that first level, it's not happening. I do find that shorts tend to perform more gradually over a longer period, like 2 to 4 weeks in general. But yeah, it's all about that initial bump. That's the true indication of how well it's going to do. I don't know if you follow Jevon Dovey. He posted a really interesting video the other day about YouTube Shorts. He's done like 50 million views in 30 days.
Jesus.
Yeah, so and it's just starting from, I think, basically nothing on his second channel. So that was a really interesting video for people to watch. But I don't think really anyone understands it.
Yeah, it's so strange. We had a guy, he's a TikTok creator. We had a guy called In the Dark Vlogs. He does like these like sketch videos and stuff, but he only posts like short form videos on his YouTube, doesn't he? Yeah. He's got to 1 million subscribers in less than a year just by posting shorts. Yeah.
Wow.
It's mad, the growth.
Crazy.
Yeah. I know what you mean about the course of over a few weeks, because I'd say in my, your top 10 videos, one of them is a long form, the rest are shorts. And these shorts are all like slow burners. They're all sort of gradually getting views. Whereas if you post on Instagram, you get that initial spike and then they just and it's nothing, and you've just got to continue posting. Whereas YouTube,
Yep.
some of the shorts can continue to get those views, which is nice.
Yeah, the algorithm is definitely very, very different between all three of them, and that's evident if you literally post the same thing on all of them, exactly the same style. Like it's very interesting, and I wish there was an easy way to understand it, but there's not.
No, definitely not. What would you say is one of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to creating for YouTube or creating short form content for Instagram and TikTok and all that sort of stuff?
For YouTube, it's doing it for the wrong reasons straight away. You got to do something you are interested in, because people completely underestimate how much time is involved with, well, you guys know, anything related to video production. The planning, the scripting, the shooting, the editing, going through client revisions, like anything you do with video production is very time consuming, very mentally time consuming. So then if you're doing everything yourself for YouTube, you got to really enjoy doing what you're doing. And I think a lot of people start thinking it's just an easy way to make money, and it's not.
Which it's kind of why I stopped doing YouTube in a way, because I was like, well, I've got to put, if I'm going to start up doing my own like production business, then I'm going to have to put everything into this, and it's so lengthy doing YouTube. Like, then people definitely don't realize the amount of work that goes into it. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to be like not in the mood for doing any paid work if I'm just sitting editing for hours on just like a free project that might just absolutely tank when you upload it. So
that's it.
It consumes a lot of time.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I haven't posted a long form video in a while, just because I've got a few that are just getting views, which is
Iceland, the last one.
Iceland. Yeah, we did like a bucket list trip to Iceland, which was great. I think every photographer now wants to go there. Since watching Secret Life of Walter Mitty, it's now the place that photographers have to go, which is a great film. I've got the book somewhere up there. And yeah, we went to Iceland, and I think that was the first time I'd vlogged in a while. But then also, I think I'd made like 4 or 5 different YouTube shorts from that vlog and from that footage, which is great. You can repurpose like long form content to make it short.
Oh, you have to. You have
absolutely.
To, yeah. Oh,
especially with the drone bits as well. It works a treat for that.
It's an absolute treat.
And you could just be scrolling through reels and be like, "Oh, that's a trend I can utilize footage from like 6 months ago." Right? It's just,
When it comes to your reels, do you do them sort of more in the moment, or do you like batch shoot your reels? I know a lot of people will post their daily content and do it in the moment. I myself like dedicate, say, 2 to 3 hours a week, get everything set up, and I'll batch shoot my content. What's your process when it comes to that?
It depends. Generally speaking, most of my content is very, like my short form content is very raw. So it's very spur of the moment. I'll be like, I've literally been out with people before shooting stuff and like make a reel, post it, and they're like, "You're going to post that right now?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I am." Like, it just happened. Why not? Those are normally the ones that do better, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I do batch if I'm on a trip, if I'm traveling somewhere, and I'm just like the trip I was just on, I think I shot like 15 reels.
Nice.
But it's just, then you get back and you edit them, right? Because I'm not realistically, I can't post a reel, then 5 minutes later post another reel, then 5 minutes later post another reel. It's just not practical. So if I'm on a trip, I'll batch. Just knowing in my head, okay, well, I've got this many reels to post. But I've also done the same thing that you said you just did, where you'd like sit down and talk for half an hour and you maybe get like 20 reels out of that, then you cut it up and then that's your next month's content. Didn't find that did too well, to be honest with you. So I can see the pros depending on the style of content that you make.
I just want to ask a huge favour. We're a relatively new podcast, and it would be incredible if you could support the show by giving us a like or follow or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to or watching us on. And if you could give us a review, that would be even better. It helps us get up the charts. The bigger the show gets, the bigger the guests get. The aim of this show is to give you guys value. The bigger the guests we get, the more value you guys get. It would be amazing to have your support with that. So without further ado, back to this week's episode.
Definitely. Yeah, it's interesting to see which type of content performs well. Like, I'll make sort of 3 different types of like short form content. So I'll make like work BTS stuff. So I'll like set up my camera or my phone and GoPro and just film some BTS of when I'm on a shoot doing photos. Then I'll do like a more tutorial talking head kind of this sort of setup. And then I'll just do some just what I call shit posting. I'll just like lip sync to like a TikTok or Instagram sound and make a caption to make it relatable to photography and stuff. And it's annoyingly, it's most of the easy shit posting kind of stuff that does really well.
Yep. It's true. You got to treat it like that's the disposable content, right? But that's the stuff that does well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like when you do like real estate stuff, obviously that is so different to like the short form and YouTube stuff. How did you get into that?
Real estate? How did I get into real estate? I think I fell into it by accident, to be honest with you. There was a couple of times I was
like
asked to do
weddings.
photos. Yeah, like that's normally how you start doing things. You get asked by someone because they know you have a camera to shoot something, and you do it and you make a ton of mistakes and you learn lots of things, and then you go and do it again and you make less mistakes, and gradually over time you just get better and
You get sucked into it.
you get sucked into it because this person refers you to this person, and then I mean that's really how I started shooting real estate and weddings as well. So and I think that's the way most people do it as well. But
I was going to say, I'm trying to get into a little bit of real estate as well, just because there's such a good gap in the market for it around here. Like, I feel like so many people don't like really utilize drone footage either for it around here, which is annoying because like obviously he'll do them quite well, I think. So it's just no one has the money at the moment. Like as soon as you try and talk someone into maybe like contracting them into, I don't know, giving them so much footage or something for so many sales, like a month or something, and then or each week, they don't want to be tied into anything, do they? So it's kind of, I'm finding it hard just to kind of convince them that they need it.
I mean, I'd say that that's the same thing here as well. Most people don't want to, they want the video, they want the content, but they don't want to pay for it. That's generally what is happening. It's hard. I find with real estate that you reach a point at which you just have to be very limited or very selective over what it is that the jobs that you're taking, because it's just you might not be profitable if you do too many.
I found that with like gym kind of content. I've fallen into getting like, I think I've got 5 or 6 gyms that I shoot for now, doing like their photos for them each month, and then a handful of Instagram reels. And I've got like those 5 or 6 that will pay me each month for the year to come and shoot for them. But then I will get that select handful that are like, oh, can we get like a little trial day can we have like a handful of photos and just see how we go from there? I'm like, no. You got to know your worth.
Yeah, 100%. You have to stick to it, and it's very hard when you first start because you're excited to take any job, to get paid anything to use your camera. But there comes a point where you just have to stick to your ground, and this is what I'm charging. You don't want it? Okay, no worries. Yeah, go find someone else.
Facts. Louder for the people at the back.
Yeah, really.
And do you do that real estate business? Is it you? I think I've seen on your reels that you shoot them with your wife as well.
Well, my wife just became a realtor. I say just, like last year she became a realtor, so now I do all of her like longer form videos. But I've essentially taught her. I gave her some knowledge, and she's just learned how to do everything social media wise for video. She does incredibly now. So hats off to her. She does a lot of her own stuff now, but when the longer form stuff, I'll help her out with like the mic'd up, like real estate tours. I don't know if you guys get those there. The markets are very, very different between North America and England.
We get them in London. There's like a few channels that will post like a couple of videos a week doing like, here's what you can buy for $15 million in Mayfair and all those sorts of stuff. But they're not to the level of, someone like Ennis. I don't know if you've seen Ennis's videos. What's his name? He does these very, very big high production like real estate videos. He's toured all sorts of like celebrity homes, but the cinematics, I've watched them. I started watching his videos on a regular basis like 2 years ago, and it's interesting to see how much they've upped the levels. They're there at these properties for like 2 or 3 days. They'll film like from sunrise to sunset, getting drone shots in the morning, during the day. Like everywhere else seems to put a lot more effort into selling houses than it does here.
And I'm like correcting our local estate agents. Like we have there's one in the town that we live in that I follow them on Instagram, and like there are some of the videos they post, they have the wireless goes, and obviously they're clipping them on the wrong way around, and there's just like this massive block hanging off the shirt, and I'm just like, please, just let me do the video for you, and I can assure you, it will, one, look better, and two, sound a little better, because you won't have like muffling on the mic. But no, it's annoying.
Scratching sounds is like
I wish they would just sort of take over and let me just
it's an ick.
do it for it's frustrating to watch, but
hey, they're trying their best.
Very true. If lockdown's proved anything, it's that people need photographers and videographers, because
it's worth the paying for.
It's worth the investment. I quit my day job. I was a nursery teacher, so I quit the day before lockdown to do all this full time, because here in the UK, production and stuff could still continue, which was nice. So I could like still shoot for people and still do all that social distance shoots and stuff. And if lockdowns and stuff of all that have proved anything, it's that people need photographers and videographers.
So a question for you on that then, do you guys think, like, how do you think long term? Because I think more and more people are getting better and better at shooting things themselves, and I think the phones are in general doing a better job at shooting things than, like, there's a lot of times now that I'll pull out my phone instead of using my camera because it's quicker, easier, it does a better job, and I don't have to grade it. So like long term, do you guys think that self-employed videographers and photographers have the potential to be replaced?
I think in certain areas, maybe. Certain areas, I think potentially in the area of, like, say, like podcast production, where people can literally just talk into their phones and use AI to correct their audio, like the Adobe Podcast Beta app. I tried that out the other day. And it can make it sound like it's been recorded in like a booth in a studio.
Yeah.
So nice. I think in some areas, I think it can be, but I think for certain projects like music videos, like weddings, like, you just can't get the quality and look of a mirrorless. I've seen a few videos where people like have titled it, "We filmed an entire wedding on iPhones." They're cool to see. And I do like the videos where people do side by side, like $6,000 camera versus like iPhone. Like the iPhone cinematic mode is incredible. I do love it, but I definitely think there'll still be a need. What about yourself, man?
Yeah, no, I do. It's just, I don't know what it is with, obviously, like, phone content looks amazing, but I think it's just how you look professionally as well. Like, obviously, turning up to a wedding, if you tell the couple you're going to shoot on a phone, I think it's going to be hard to convince, because a lot of people don't, I don't know if it's just us, but like if you go show someone that doesn't really have a clue about cameras, say, two different resolutions, then like they sometimes can't tell apart like 1080 and 4K, and I'm like, how can you not tell it apart? But so I guess if you go to a wedding couple and they can't see the difference in resolution, and you pick out a phone, and then they're not probably going to be too happy about it. They're probably expecting, if they're paying that much money, they're going to expect like expensive looking equipment. But I don't know. I mean, for people to just make like little company reels, just kind of in-house, I reckon people start doing that a lot more rather than hiring people to make content for them. Which
I agree.
But,
It is. That's why I want to ask you guys, get your opinion on it, because like if you guys both do this somewhat for a living, it's something you always got to have at the back of your mind, right? Like, is what I'm doing right now replaceable by someone else with their own phone? So
no, absolutely,
yeah, definitely in certain areas, particularly with like AI and stuff, like Chat GPT. Like if you ever if you're ever lacking video titles, give me 10 video titles for YouTube about a Sony 50mm, then you've got 10 video. It's unreal.
It's also made a schedule for the documentary I'm making as well. I literally just put like, write me a schedule, you put in a few bits of details, and it comes out as a full-blown schedule. I'm like, thank you.
It's unreal. I've implemented like AI and stuff into my business a lot, which is nice. What about yourself?
I've been trying it out. I've been playing with it. My wife uses it quite a bit now for her social posts, which is where I think it really does excel. Like, it's able to just gather information and styles of talking and using language in like write something for me that appeals to the demographic of this specific region. Like, it does a really good job of that. Whereas typically if I was to do that, I'd have to look up, well, what kind of language do I need to use to sound like that person? You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think it does a really, really good job at things like that. Even coming up with ideas for things.
The weird thing with titles wise is great.
Yeah. Chat GPT though isn't really even like, it's using previous data. As far as I'm aware, unless there's been an update, it doesn't even have access to the internet right now either, right?
It's switched off. It caps out at 2021,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it doesn't have access to anything that's
Yep.
like past 2021, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It is, it saved me a lot of time this week though, because where it's been quite a chill week for me, I've been, well, emailing lots of people, kind of inquiring about things, seeing like estate agents and stuff, asking if they want work, and then following up as well. And like writing follow-up emails individually for people is so long. So I just put, can you write me a follow-up email for this company? And then just copy, paste, send off.
Yeah.
Saves me a lot of time on like the boring admin stuff, so I can actually put more time into
Agreed.
stuff that requires it. So I think
Yeah,
it's good.
We've tried out some things like that for like brand outreach, for like when you want to see if brands want to work with you for certain things. Like, it's really good at writing professional sounding emails that I'd have to give way too much mental power to, that I just don't want to do.
Yeah.
So it does a really good job at doing things like that.
It's great.
Yeah.
There's an app that I use, and it's fantastic because I'll use it mainly to add like caption subtitles to my videos, particularly like my my more talking head ones. And then once it's added and animated all your captions, it will make a I don't know if it will show. It will make it's not focusing, but it will make like a title and description for you.
Okay.
Which is mad, and you can copy and paste a title and description and give you a select amount of hashtags as well. It's an app called Captions. It's mad. Like, if you need to like post on like Instagram, like you need a quick caption for your reel, or even a long description for your posts, for example, on LinkedIn, it's such a time saver. It's crazy.
It is. It's definitely gonna have a place in our industry and business more and more as we kind of as it gets better as well. I'm sure it'll do even more things.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, what have you got sort of coming up, like YouTube wise, or like personal projects wise? What have you got coming up?
What have I got coming up? I'm dropping a not short film, but like a YouTube video in the next couple of weeks that'll be from my trip out to Yosemite a few weeks ago, capturing this photography event called Firefalls. That's been something I've been quite interested.
That looked amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, it was super fun. And I'm just trying to figure out the best way to make the edit work. And it's in like its first draft right now, so I've got a few more things to do with it. So that's coming soon.
Didn't a glacier like just fall apart like there a few weeks ago, or like?
Yeah, like literally. So El Capitan, which is the big rock where Firefalls occurs at the top of it, part of the rock collapsed. Not a huge amount, but part of the rock face just came off. It typically does every year, I guess. Like when the water seeps into the crevices, freezes, and then starts to defrost, it just starts to crumble. The scary thing with that is we were stood like right underneath, like 4 days prior, right underneath where that fell. Like we have video like right under it. So it's but that was a really cool trip. I think anytime you get to go and photo things, video things outside of your normal area, it's way more interesting.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And then what else have we got coming up? A couple of trips coming up soon. Something I can't talk about, but should be fun.
Nice.
A few more things coming later this year. Lots of travel this year. Lots more travel than I typically have done.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah. And then all the reels and short form associated content with that as well.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Like, we'll leave all like your links in the description. We look forward to seeing more reels. I particularly love the reel you posted the other day where you what was it? You went in like a cold plunge this river or something.
Yeah,
I have not brought myself to cold plunges yet. I know you've been trying them out, but I don't have the balls for it yet.
Yeah, it's tough to start, but I've been doing it 3 months now and I love it. So
Amazing
I
stuff,
recommend everyone should try it. Yeah. But thank you for having me, guys. Been my pleasure.
Mate, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We're going to leave Chris's links in the description below. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please give us a rating. That would be very, very kind. Spotify are actively pushing podcasts these days, which is great to see. Yeah. Chris, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.